Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Yomam Pashyati Sarvatra Sarvang Cha Mai Pashyati Tasyahang Na Pranashyami Satyame Na Pranashyati. Read the translation and the purport. Seems I was expected to speak on the verse which has been incorrectly written on the board here. It's not funny that it's incorrect. You seem to think it's a big joke, but if we're going to serve Bhagavad-gita, which is non-different from Krishna, we should be careful enough not to write things which are not there and leave out things which should be there. Anyway, let's read this verse and translation. Avajananti mang murha manushing tanamashritam. Yeah, now 3 mistakes I found. Param bhavam ajananto mama bhuta maheshwaram. At least 3 mistakes are there. The translation: fools deride me when I descend in the human form. They do not know my transcendental nature as the supreme Lord of all that be. So I chose not to speak directly on this verse today because the purport is 3.5 pages long, out of time consideration. It's generally considered that people come and they have busy lives and they don't want to spend too much time hearing about Krishna. The purport is 3.5 pages long, which points to the importance that Srila Prabhupada ascribed to the instruction that Krishna is giving in this verse. That persons who deny Krishna's supremacy, persons who deny that Krishna is the supreme person, they are mudha, which is translated here as fool. So the verse which I chose to speak on is just the opposite. Yomam pashyati sarvatra savang cha mai pashyati tasyahang na pranashyami satyame na pranashyati. One who sees Krishna everywhere, Krishna in everything, and everything in Krishna, is never lost to Krishna, nor is Krishna ever lost to that person. So in one verse, Krishna, he chastises or derides the position of persons who are envious of him. And in another verse, Krishna glorifies the position of the pure devotees who see him everywhere. Now, who will deny Krishna? Why should anyone do that? In Bhagavad-gita, Lord Krishna establishes himself as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And that service to him is the duty and the best path for every living being. But there are many persons who don't like to accept this. They like to study Bhagavad-gita, but they like to explain it with their own understanding. They don't like to understand it according to the understanding that Krishna is giving. It is maybe paradoxical that people are attached or attracted to spiritual life but not to Krishna. There are many people who, not that many, some people, who they are attracted to discussions of topics concerning many of the words or the terms which Krishna uses in Bhagavad-gita. In Bhagavad-gita, Krishna discusses the nature of the Atma, the eternality of the Atma. He uses quite often in Bhagavad-gita the term Brahma. Krishna speaks of the eternality of the Atma and of the temporality of everything in this world. and that therefore an intelligent person seeing the temporality and the misery of this world should attempt to become detached from everything in this world and liberated from this world. So this knowledge is called Gyan. This is discussed extensively in Bhagavad-gita. And yoga is also discussed in Bhagavad-gita, is the process of becoming detached from this world. So many people are attracted to spiritual life. They jive with this. They appreciate such discussions. But that Krishna is the ultimate goal of all spiritual quests. To surrender to Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, they are not attracted to that because they are envious of Krishna. They are interested in self-realization, but not in God-realization. Or rather, they take the self to be the supreme, the individual jiva to be supreme. However, as Srila Prabhupada states in the purport to this Yomam Pashati verse, Krishna consciousness is beyond, the stage of Krishna consciousness is beyond self-realization. The impersonalists are those who like to think that spiritual realization means to stop recognizing all names, forms, personalities, emotions, and so on. Qualities, you said qualities. I didn't. That's another good point. So when they read this verse, they read Yomam Pashati Sarvatra Sarvang Cha Mai Pashati. They take it to mean that Krishna is self-realized. He has realized his identity as being one with everything, and that others should also become self-realized, and then they will also realize their identity as one with everything. This is how they understand it. They think that Krishna is a person like you and me, but he's highly developed. Or they think that Krishna is a manifestation of the impersonal absolute. Ultimately, everything is impersonal, they think. And that the individual jiva can also come to the same stage as Krishna. This is similar to the Buddhist concept that anyone can become a Buddha. Buddha, he's just the same as anyone else intrinsically, but he became, you can't really say self-realized, but he became realized. So the impersonalists think like that you see, you can become the same as Krishna, then you realize everything is all one, and you're the same as Krishna, and everything is all the same. I am you, and you are me, and we are all together. It's a gross, thinking like this is a monstrous misunderstanding. Just completely got it all wrong. Krishna is establishing in Bhagavad-gita, yes, this world is miserable, everything here is temporary, we should become detached from this world, we should not remain in this condition of repeated birth and death. But liberation from this world means to accept Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead and to surrender to Him. Those who interpret this Yomam Pashati Sarvatra verse as being simply that you become one with everything, they so badly miss the point. Amid all these philosophical discussions, and as the conclusion and the apex of these philosophical discussions, Krishna is establishing that love of Him in Bhakti, that is the best position. Krishna consciousness beyond self-realization. When we've become detached from this world, when we fully understand that I am not the body, I am eternal spirit soul, I am by nature Satchit Anandamai, eternal, full of knowledge and full of bliss. So once we have all this theoretical understanding, philosophical understanding, still we have to go further. Come to the real point, that the highest truth is not simply negating this world, but to love Krishna. This Yomam Pashyati verse means that out of intense love for Krishna, the devotee cannot but think of Krishna at every moment. In this way, he sees Krishna everywhere. Thavara jangam dekhe na dekhe tar murti, sarvatra hoy nija ishta deva sfurti. The person in pure Krishna consciousness, he sees everything in this world, moving and non-moving, but he doesn't exactly see those forms. Everywhere he sees his worshipful Lord manifest. That is possible in pure love of Krishna. Just as a mundane example, it's not an exactly appropriate example, but it's as an analogy. An analogy means Shaka Chandranyaya, that at the night time, if the moon can be seen through the branches of a tree, the mother may point to the child. You see through that round ball, that through the branches, that's the moon. The moon is a long way from the branches, has nothing to do, but just from our vision, it helps to clarify the point. So when a young couple get married, or in the modern age, they just fall in love and they don't bother getting married. There is between them, there's an intense emotion, which they call falling in love. I don't know how it's said in Tamil, but falling is really the word. It's really a step down and not a step up. But it appears to be that now my life is perfect and wonderful because I have met this boy or this girl, and at every moment one is like a person haunted by a ghost because you cannot think of anything but that person. Now the young ladies are leaving, they don't like to hear all these things. The young ladies are leaving because they don't like to hear all these things. But if you stay, you could hear about a better kind of love than the love of your dear boyfriend. They don't believe in that. Anyway. Everyone's invited to throw their cell phone out of the window or otherwise just turn it off. There's a nice flooded area out here, and if you throw it in here, your cell phone will be lost. So that's best, but otherwise just turn it off, please. So when one falls in love, then when brushing your teeth, which isn't very a romantic activity, but you're simply thinking of the boy or girl that you're fallen in love with. You may not be able to sleep at night because you're so much absorbed in love for the loved object. And even when you wake, even if you do sleep, when you wake up in the morning, immediately you think, my lover. So, this is a mundane example of how the devotee always thinks of Krishna in intense love. It's a mundane example because that intense absorption in love for the lover doesn't last very long. Why is that? Because the supposed object of love is not the actual object of love for the jiva. The actual object of love for the jiva is Krishna. So if we repose our love in Krishna, that loving feeling will not wear off. It will increase always. So this verse, Yomam Pashyati, one who sees me everywhere, Krishna is giving an indication of the loving relationship between Krishna and the devotee, which is the actual perfection of life. Beyond philosophical analysis of what is real and what is unreal, sat and asat, beyond performing austerities such as eating very little, subjecting oneself to the cold in the winter and the heat in the summer, beyond trying to subdue and overcome the raging Kam, Krodh, Lobh and all these bad qualities which are within our heart. There is a stage even beyond that. The mind should become peaceful by overcoming all material desires, all material attachments. But beyond that, better than that, much better than that is the stage of love for Krishna. This is a completely transcendental and purified stage. This is the actual dharma of every jiva, to love Krishna. Generally we see everywhere, what do we see in this world? What do we see? How do we see everything? Whatever we see, we think, is that nice? Is that something I can enjoy? If we see something we think we can enjoy, we think, let me enjoy. Or let me try to enjoy. Or maybe we can't immediately enjoy it. So we may go too much trouble to acquire the ability to enjoy that. We want to have a car, then we have to work hard to get the money to pay for that. And we think, now I shall enjoy the car. So we think we shall enjoy driving a car. It's just like the lovers. The fascination with each other doesn't last. So when you get a new car, you may think, oh, this is great. You feel elated because now I have a car. But after some time, you just get used to having a car and it doesn't feel like anything special to have a car. And there's so many bills to be paid. Petrol is so expensive. It's got to go up again. It's always going up, right? The price. Now the rupee is falling, which means you have to pay more for oil, which means the petrol price is going to go up, and the price of everything else is going to go up. And the car breaks down. They're designed to break down. They can build a car which will last for 50 years, but then it won't be good for the car business. So they build one which will last for usually about 1 or 2 years, just beyond the guarantee. And then it starts to break down. So, in this material world, we see things that we want to enjoy, but we don't enjoy. And some things we see, we simply can't enjoy. But we like to think, I would enjoy. We see someone else's wife, we think, this is very nice, I'd like to enjoy, but we cannot enjoy. So we become envious of that person who's the husband. Or we make some scheme to kidnap or seduce the woman, and then we get in a lot of trouble and we become very sinful. So we see everything in this world and we desire to enjoy it, but it just gives us a lot of trouble and entangles us in more and more material attachment and material activities which give karmic reactions. But if we see Krishna everywhere, that in itself gives us liberation from this material world. Actually, there's no need of all this severe austerities and intricate discussion of what is jnana and what is Brahma and all these things. Krishna discusses all these points in Bhagavad-gita. That is attractive to persons who are attracted to such things. But in between, in different places, he gives some indication of what is the actual essence of spiritual understanding. For instance, he says, Patrang pushpang palang toyam yome bhaktya prayachati tadahang bhakti uparhitam ashnami prayata manaha. If one offers me with love, a fruit, water, or flower, Krishna says, then I accept that. So we may think, why in this discussion of yoga and karma and Brahma and Atma and all these elevated topics, Krishna says, offer me a flower or a fruit or water or a leaf. What happened? Krishna's getting thirsty or hungry or what? But they may say, well, Krishna, come on, you're supposed to be self-realized. What do you want? Why are you asking something from anyone? Krishna doesn't need anything from anyone, but he's thirsty for the love of his devotee. And if we offer even a simple thing to Krishna with love, that automatically puts us beyond the liberated stage without even having to think so much Gyan, Karma, Yoga, Atma, Brahma, Asakti, Anasakti, and so many things. But the unfortunate persons who are attracted to impersonalism, even though Krishna tells them in Bhagavad-gita who he is, who they are, they cannot understand. Arasagya kaka chushe jnana nimba phale rasagya kokil kai premamra mukule. Those who think themselves jnanis, but they have no knowledge of the rasa that is there in bhakti between Krishna and the devotees, they are compared to crows. Kaka, yes, same word. Arasagya kaka chushe. So generally the impersonalists think that they are paramahamsas or supreme swans, but according to Ramananda Rai, they are just like crows. If you go under a neem tree, you'll find there's so much crow stool there, generally you'll find. Because the crows like to chew or suck on the neem fruit, which is very bitter. So similarly, persons who have no knowledge of the sweet loving exchanges between Krishna and his devotees, they're simply attached to some impersonal, what they think is knowledge. They are compared to the crows who are sucking the bitter fruits. Now, of course, bitterness is one of the rasas. There are various tastes. But if there's, in the neem, there's only bitterness. So in this material world, there's only bitterness. And in liberation without Krishna consciousness, there's only bitterness. So in Krishna consciousness or love of Krishna, there are all different flavors, including sometimes bitterness. Just like in the loving affairs between Krishna and his devotees, sometimes there is apparent anger or apparent separation. But in bhakti, the main rasa, mukhya rasa, is madhurya, sweetness. So bhakti is always sweet. So even if in bhakti there is some apparent bitterness or difficulty, still it's always overwhelmingly sweet. But persons who are not interested in bhakti, they're just interested in karma or the nullification of karma as jnana, impersonal knowledge, they only know bitterness. And rasagya kokil kai premamra mukule. Those who are rasagya, those who know what is the taste of love of Krishna, they are compared to the kokil. Kokil in Tamil, kayal in Hindi. What? You don't have, just see, poor Tamil Nadu, they don't even know what a kokil is. It looks something like a small crow, but in the kak goes kak, kak, kak. Therefore they're called kak, because they make that noise. Kak, kak, kak. Actually, I can't say it so harsh. A very harsh sound. Ka, ka, ka. Whereas the kokil sings I can't also sing very sweet. Sings very sweetly. Looks koil. And they eat the sweet buds of the mango tree. So Yomam Pashati Sarvatra. Krishna is inviting you yogis, you want to sit there and breathe some air, one nostril, another nostril, and stare at the tip of your nose. What about loving me? That's a lot better. Detachment, attachment, just become attached to Krishna. That is the perfection of life. Krishna, he said, the people are trying to become detached from the world, that is very difficult. Daivi esha gunamayi mama maya duratyaya. This material situation made up of the three modes of material nature is very difficult to overcome, very difficult to come out of. But mameva ye prapadyante maya metam tarantite. But Krishna says, you just surrender to me. I'll take you, easily you can cross over. But persons who are envious of Krishna, they don't like to accept this. They're so unfortunate. Krishna is inviting them to come. Krishna, he's not just some ordinary person. You're interested in Brahma. Here is Param Brahma, Param Dhama, Pavitram, Paramam Bhavan. That is Krishna. He's not a jiva who has become self-realized, but he is the shelter of all the jivas. So those who try to reduce Krishna to those who do not accept Krishna as anything, as in the position of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, they are simply cheating themselves. And they are cheating others. When they read Yomam Pashati Sarvatra, instead of thinking, oh, how wonderful to see Krishna everywhere and everything Krishna, they're saying, oh, that means I became Krishna. So even if they say Krishna is a great self-realized person, it is simply insulting to Krishna. Krishna is not a great self-realized person. We don't find that Krishna went away and did yoga and austerity for so many years. He showed the symptoms of Bhagavan even before his birth. When he was in the womb of Devaki, that you might think, well, that shows that he's an ordinary person. But all the demigods were coming and praying. Then he showed, first of all, four-handed form, Vishnu form. And even as a young baby, apparently helpless baby, he was killing so many demons like Putana and Shakata. So it's not that he's a jiva who's become self-realized, but he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead who has kindly come into this world, apparently like one of us, just to offer to us that we can come and join with him in his blissful service. Here are pictures of Krishna with the gopis. They're not discussing what is Brahma, what is Atma. So those discussions, they're also good. We see here the Krishna on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Arjuna is praying, seeing the Vishvarup. So that discussion of what is Atma, what is Brahma, that is required in human life to consider who we are, what is the actual truth. But having understood that, we have to come to the platform of what is actual Brahma Gyan, that Krishna is Param Brahma, he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And we are meant to serve him in a loving relationship. So the gopis who are singing with Krishna, dancing with Krishna, playing with Krishna, making garlands with Krishna, they are in a much better position than someone who is apparently self-realized but who has no trace of any love for Krishna. Such persons, even though they may apparently be self-realized, they're most unfortunate. They're attracted to the teachings of Bhagavad-gita because it is the quintessential delineation of Atma Gyan, Brahma Gyan. But they have a problem with Bhagavad-gita also, because also within Bhagavad-gita it's just that it's the quintessential delineation of Atma Gyan. We'll find elsewhere in Shastra, in the Upanishads, Mahabharata and different places, discussion of what is Atma, need for detachment from this world and all these points. But they're really all brought together succinctly and precisely in Bhagavad-gita. So Bhagavad-gita is really the definitive treatise on Atma Gyan, Brahma Gyan. But there's a problem for the impersonalists who are attracted to this. Actually, there is no problem, but they see it as a problem. That there in Bhagavad-gita, Krishna establishes himself as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And that the summation of all transcendental endeavors is to surrender to Krishna in pure love. So actually there's no problem. All the problems come from not accepting Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And Krishna speaks all these topics of Jnana, Brahma, Atma, just to attract people who are attached to such concepts to come to hear these other verses which Krishna speaks. Yomam Pashati Sarvatra, to attract them to the sweet, loving service of himself. Actually, for Arjuna, there was no need to speak all this karma, jnana, yoga, all this stuff. Arjuna was already in the position of the highest devotee. That everyone is constitutionally the servant of Krishna, but out of love, the very topmost devotees, Krishna takes the position of servant of them. Just like the Prime Minister, he's, just to give again a mundane example, the Prime Minister is the head of the whole country. But when he's at home with his wife thinks nothing of telling him, just go to the other room and bring something for me. Oh, I left my bag in the other room. I'm a little busy here making the tea. Could you go to the other room and get my bag? So you can't tell the Prime Minister to go and get your bag. Such a little thing. You can't tell him to do anything. But to the wife of the Prime Minister, she doesn't care. He's my husband. I've been ordering him around all my life. So he is the Prime Minister, but to the wife of the Prime Minister, the relationship of husband and wife is far more predominant in their relationship than his being the Prime Minister. So when one becomes so close to Krishna in a relationship of love, then Krishna agrees out of love to be the servant of the devotee, even though he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Senayo upayo madhye ratam sthapya mechuta. Hey Achyuta, just take this chariot and put it in between the two armies. Arjuna didn't think. He's God, he knows. Achyuta means Bhagavan, the Supreme Lord. But just take my chariot in between these two armies. He ordered Krishna. So Arjuna is already in the super perfect position. We can only aspire to come to... Actually, even at this stage, we shouldn't even aspire for the position of Arjuna. We should aspire to be the servant of Krishna and not prematurely think that how I will engage Krishna in cleaning my pots or some such thing. So Arjuna was apparently placed in ignorance so that Krishna would speak the Bhagavad-gita to him. But Arjuna is already in the position of being the topmost devotee of Krishna. So Krishna speaks karma, jnana, yoga, attachment, detachment, the miseries of this world, the temporality of this world. He speaks all these things. But in between, he's patrang pushpang phalang toim. Offer me fruit, leaf, flower, water. Ananya cheta satatam yomang smarati nitya shaha tasaham sulabha partha nitya yoktasya yoginaha. This is the real yogi, Krishna says, who's always thinks of me without deviation. For him, Krishna says, I'm very easily attained. So like this, Krishna gives indication, Yomam Pashati Sarvatra. This is really what you're looking for, my dear yogi. Stop looking at the end of your nose. Stop looking at the end of your nose. Look and you'll see Krishna. Why are you so, breathing this way and that way? The real point is Krishna. But persons who are so envious and unfortunate that even they hear this, they're not attracted to Krishna. So Krishna condemns them. You mudha, you rascal. This avajananti mang mudha, those who do not know me, all rascals. That I am telling you that I am the Supreme Personality of Godhead. I'm not an ordinary person. Janma karma cha me divyam. I appear in this world, I act in this world, but my appearance and activities are all transcendental. Ajopi san avyayatma bhutanam ishvaropi san prakritim swamadhishtaya sambhavami atma mayaya. I am unborn, Krishna says. My transcendental form never deteriorates. Krishna doesn't undergo disease, old age, and death. Always his beautiful Shyamasundar form. There's no deterioration. He is the Supreme Lord of all living beings and all that be. He appears in this world out of his own desire, out of his own mercy. So Krishna explains all this very clearly. And by his activities also, it is completely clear that Krishna is the Supreme Personality. But still, persons who are envious, they try to make some philosophical explanation to deny Krishna's supremacy. They don't want to love Krishna. And they don't want anyone else to love him. They're so bitter. Therefore, they are very anxious to go out in the public and preach to everyone that the ultimate is impersonal, God has no form, you are God, I am God, we are all God. So Krishna condemns such person. Why does he do so? If he loves everyone, why does he condemn them? So he condemns them because they should be woken up to what is their rascaldom, what is their nastiness, how they're by their wrong philosophy, how they're spoiling themselves. And others should not be misled. So that after hearing this verse, avajananti mang mudha manushing tanamashritam, and if you hear someone say that, well, Krishna, he's just a representation of the impersonal absolute, immediately you understand, this is a mudha, this is a rascal, he's cheating. See, he seems to be a sannyasi or a sadhu, speaking on Bhagavad-gita, but he's misrepresenting Krishna. He's the most dangerous person because we trust him as a sadhu, but he's cheating us by denying that Krishna is supreme. So be very careful of such person. Actually, don't be careful, just keep away from them altogether. Don't read any so-called spiritual books if they're not by pure devotees of Krishna. Anyone who teaches us that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and we are to surrender to him in loving devotion, you run to that person, fall down at their feet and take instruction from them. And anyone who teaches that the ultimate is not a person, we simply have to merge into the Supreme Light, Krishna is just a representation of something else, just run away from that person as fast as you can run. Study this Bhagavad-gita as it is. It's called Bhagavad-gita as it is because Krishna spoke Bhagavad-gita to bring us to him in a relationship of bhakti. But almost all editions of Bhagavad-gita, because the commentators are mudhas, they're envious of Krishna, they explain it in a way that don't surrender to Krishna. So don't be misguided by these mudhas, even if they seem to be highly spiritually advanced. They might be very detached from the world. They might have good knowledge of Bhagavad-gita and Veda and all this. But if they deny Krishna or ignore Krishna or do not teach us about Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then they're all simply mudhas and rascals. So please study this Bhagavad-gita as it is. By understanding this one book, your life will be successful. Hare Krishna. It's the Gita month. We're telling everyone it's the Gita month. This is the month in which Krishna spoke Bhagavad-gita. So it's very auspicious to take Bhagavad-gita during this Gita month. Actually, it's very auspicious to take Bhagavad-gita in any month. But because people think like that, oh, this is very auspicious time, this, that, then it's a kind of sales promotion, you could say. So we can also have sales promotion, but not that we're selling Bhagavad-gita to get more money or anything, but because whatever it takes for you to get this knowledge of Bhagavad-gita, please take it. This morning in West Mambalam, I was just walking to the place where I was going to give a lecture there. So just on the path was a young boy, maybe 18, 20 years old, holding a cricket bat with a younger boy throwing the ball like this. So I said to him, why are you wasting your time? Human life is meant for God realization. You get this human birth after many births. Now only is the opportunity for God realization, and you're wasting it just hitting this ball with a piece of wood. So I said, you come, now we're having a program, kirtan, upanyasam, all this. You come? Just right in front of the gate to the school where the program was. So he said, well, I'd like to come, but I can't come. You see, there's some situation in the home where we're not supposed to go to any divine function. So I said, Ashocha. It's someone in the family, maybe someone, great-granduncle somewhere off in America or somewhere, had died. Perfect excuse. So he went on playing cricket. Hare Krishna. If you're, whatever situation you may be in, take this Bhagavad-gita. What do the Kshatriyas do? I mean, they're all in Ashoch, right? They're killing, and their friends are getting killed next to them. They don't follow that. Otherwise, now I can't do anything. Then as soon as one person's killed on one side, because they're all friends and relatives, so then the battle has to stop. You get what I mean? Drona got killed, our guru got killed, so we should just retire. Everyone, both the Pandavas and the Kauravas, they're all students of Drona. No such question. They went on fighting all the more fiercely. Can you imagine what intensity is required to fight in a battle? You can't think of anything else. People are trying to kill you all around, and you're trying to kill them. So if you start thinking about, well, when this is all over, I'll go on a holiday with my wife, and you can't think of anything else. Full concentration is required. So that full focus, full concentration, that is